Maybe you have a mentor or somebody that can guide you. But I think a system kind of protects you from yourself more than anything. Because when you're a beginner trader, you're going to make mistakes. And if you have that system that you can fall back on and also to build conviction when you're in drawdowns, there's just no other feeling.
December 11th, 2025. I hope you're doing well today. We are going to go over all of the wonderful opportunities that the market presented us with today. And, one little reminder is that the traders out there that are scared that the market is going to take money away from them, the traders that are thinking and they have the thoughts within their mind that consist of doubt and that consist of disbelief and that consist of fear, the market is going to take their money with very little resistance. And then the other traders that literally believe that the market wants to give them money, they actually believe that. They literally believe that the market wants to give them money. Those are the traders that are making money. All right, we got a market open right here. First, we're going to go over some an interesting pattern that you can use in your own studies here. Look at this. Look at this chart for a second. Look at this. I'm going to pull up the weekly. Okay. I want you to look. If you go, so this is the week that we're on right here. Okay. This is the previous week. Marking these levels of the highs and the lows of the previous week, like I've done here. Okay. I've got this low here. You could also imagine one more low being right here. Right. My point is, the reason I'm telling you this is marking the previous week's critical levels are critical for you to do so that you can reference them when the day is unfolding. And we also want to do this with the 1 hour. So if you look at the 1 hour and you have the full the full extended, so you can see all the markets, all the hours, all the sessions. This is the black area. That's the actual New York stock market open to close. And then these are all the pre-market, post-market, other sessions like London and Asia. And then here's today. So before the market opens, you definitely want to pull up a larger time frame, maybe like a 1 hour, and see if you can identify critical levels that occurred. The pre-market low, the pre-market high, those are obvious. Yesterday's low, yesterday's high, those are obvious. Those are 4 critical levels you need to know about. And then if you see other critical levels that pop up in your vision, mark those as well. Okay? That's just a basic thing you should be doing no matter what as a pre-market ritual and routine to prep for the day. Okay, so we're going to just look at the 5-minute and the 2-minute and see if our strategy produces any profits for us today. Here's the market open right here. Our higher time frames are already building to the downside, so we have a downside bias, but we don't just enter trades for no reason. We want to wait for the strategy to come into effect. We want a volume confluence. We want to be on the right side of the histogram momentum right here on the 2-minute chart. So we don't just enter blindly. The market opens, and look what happens right here on this bar right here. Look what happens. We haven't really started a reversal on the histogram. We get a power volume bar, a volume bar greater than the previous 3. Our 5-minute is giving us permission to take trades to the downside. So this was an entry right here for the strategy. You would enter at the close of the candle. So right here is where you enter. You would put your stop loss slightly above that entry candle. You would target a 1-to-1. And you would have made a lot of money past that 1-to-1. Say you buy 5 contracts and you sell 4 at your target, and then you allow 1 to continue running, making you a lot of money. Now, notice the price action bounced right here, and I even left a note. What do you know? The price action bounced perfectly on this blue line. Where did I get this blue line from? Well, if you look at the pre-market, there was a critical inflection point that happened here. I marked that inflection point. That's a point of interest. It's a pre-market low as well. And what do you know? What do you know? Is this starting to make sense yet to you? These critical levels are critical for a reason. We're not saying we can tell the future, but we're saying we are aware of critical levels where there will be maybe a lot of buy or sell orders. So that was pretty interesting. And anyway, this first trade happened. It was a win. We go forward on the day. We can't take any trades to the upside according to the strategy because we haven't gotten permission yet. We haven't gotten a crossover on the 5-minute chart yet. So we get the crossover right here. Right here. Look, now the crossover to the upside has happened. So now we're looking for upside opportunities. Okay, we go to the 2-minute. Is there any upside opportunities? Nope, we're just going down. We keep going down until right here we start to have a little bit of a reversal. But by this time, by this point, we've already crossed back over to the downside on the 5-minute. Okay? You see this red line right here? This was an entry. We're about to cross back down to the 5. We haven't crossed over yet. This is what you would consider slightly early entry, which means a little bit higher risk, which means maybe you want to take profit a little bit quicker. Okay? So we're crossing back down to the selling downside. We're on the right side of the 2-minute V, momentum on the histogram. We get a volume bar, which is essentially greater than the previous 3. So this was a discretionary trade following the rules. Your entry would have been right here at the close of the candle. You would have put your stop loss slightly above that candle. You would have targeted a 1-to-1. And you would have made money. Okay, look what happens from this point forward. We get a lot of choppiness. And we cross back up to the upside right here. We're starting to cross back up to the upside, see? So now we're looking for upward opportunities. Okay, which means we want to see a power volume bar on the green side. And we want to be on the right side of the momentum on the 2-minute histogram. Do you see that happening at any point past this confirmation right here? Here's the confirmation. It's about to occur. Okay, now we've got the confirmation. But we're already tapering off where we've got a bunch of weakness. We've got no green power volume bar on this side after the crossover has occurred. Because we don't want to enter early like the last trade I was telling you about. That's an early entry. You don't want to take those all the time. That's a discretionary higher risk setup. So the official strategy has only come into effect once today, and it was this one right here, which was a huge winner. So can we see if we get another setup? Look what happens. We have the upward momentum on the 5-minute time frame. We're on the right side of the 2-minute histogram momentum. We get a volume bar which is greater than the previous 3. So this was an entry right here. This was a valid entry. So your entry would have been right here at the close of this candle. You would have put your stop loss slightly below that entry, targeted a 1-to-1, which would have been a loss. A 2-to-1 would have been a win. Either way, losses they're okay. It's part of the game. I drew this wedge here because I was noticing a consolidation. A wedge was building, I could notice. And I marked that, and it did play out. It definitely did play out. Let's go back in to see if there's another setup. Okay, so by the time we get to this spot right here, we're starting to tick back up to the upside on the 5-minute momentum, which is what we need. But we haven't finished that tick yet. We haven't gotten confirmation yet. Confirmation doesn't happen until now. Now that's actually concluded. That candle has printed. We are seeing there's upward momentum. And then look what happens right here on this opportunity. Upward momentum. We're on the right side of the 2-minute V. We have a volume bar, which is essentially greater than the previous 3. It is greater than the previous 3. This one right here. What a setup. What a trade. You enter at the close of the candle. You put your stop loss slightly below that candle. You target a 1-to-1. You get the win. And look how far your runners go. Your runner, I mean, that's a lot of money. So like, for example, when I say runners, sell 80 or 90% of the position at your target and let the other 10 to 20% of your position continue to run, moving the stop loss up. A lot of people move their stop loss up in different ways. I love drawing trend lines for the stop loss. You can use an EMA line. You can use the break of prior bar lows or prior bar highs. Depends on who you are and what you like to do. Either way, that was a good win. Did we get another setup? Okay, right here, we're starting to get a pop-up to the upside again. Now it's concluded. Now we have permission to take a trade to the upside because now we're expanding to the upside. If we're red, we want to be expanding to the downside. If we're green, we want to be expanding to the upside. So by the time this happens and we get a green light, we do not get a power volume bar until right here, until this one. Now this would have been a very quick loss and a very small loss had you actually taken this trade. I wouldn't have taken this trade, and I did not take this trade because look at the MACD weakness. It's not really expanding anymore. It's actually dying down. It's a decrease right here if you can see it. So not a valid setup. It's not pretty. We only want to take nice pretty setups. We get a nice pop up to the upside here. Boom, expansion. Are we on the right side of the momentum? Nope, we're now dying. We're now tapering down. We do get something right here. We get a pop-up right here, which happened to be a power volume bar. Right here. But by this time, now the 5-minute is weak. Look at the 5-minute tapering. Leveling off, tapering down. You could take that trade as well. And it would have also been a loss or a win depending on how you structure it. With tiny candles, your entry would have been right here, right? This is your entry on the close of that candle where there's a power volume bar right here. So your entry is here. If you want to be super strict and use that entry candle to set your stop loss would be right here and it would have been a loss. But because it's a small candle, you can use the previous candle to set your stop loss, which would have been here. And then you could have taken a 2-to-1 to get the win, or if you would have targeted a 1-to-1, it just would have been a straight up loss, and that's all right. Not a big deal. And the final setup of the day, which was the one that I took 3 trades today. The first one was a loss. The second one was a good win. Great trade. And then the third trade that I took today was this one we're about to discuss. Look at this right here. We cross over to the downside on the 5-minute, giving us permission to take short positions. I accidentally entered right here because I saw a power volume bar. But we weren't on the right side of the momentum on the MACD yet. So I took this position, but this was an improper entry. Okay? And I got lucky because the trade worked out in my favor before hitting my stop loss. But the proper entry, the correct entry, the strategy itself was right here. Look what happens. We're on the right side of the 5-minute momentum. We get a pop down to on the MACD histogram on the 2-minute chart, aligning with the momentum. We get a power volume bar. This, my friend, is a great trade. Your entry would have been right here on this purple line. Stop loss slightly above that candle. Targeted a 1-to-1. And that was a win. So all in all, the strategy came into effect a few times today. I think the strategy essentially came into effect 5 or 6 times today. With about 2 or 3 losses, but the losses were small and the wins were massive because of runners, because of having runners. So great day in the market. I hope you have a good one. I will see you in the next video. Take care now.